Hey guys, Zelonius here. Welcome to another video on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be looking at some of the best and some of the worst value players on FIFA 23. Are you fed up of getting out-teamed on FIFA? Want that God squad that you've always dreamed of? Check out MMOEXP and use code ZEL at checkout for a 5% discount. Check out the link below. MMOEXP, the best place to buy coins. Okay, so in this video, like I say, we're going to be looking at value on FIFA 23. We've got quite a mix of players here. Value is somewhat opinionated, so what I think's good and bad value might be slightly different opinion to other people. Obviously, how good a card actually is a major, if not the biggest part of it. Chemistry is important, so if a card's, say, French Premier League striker and can play a numerous amount of positions, that's going to be a much better value than someone who's second division Danish league, plays some random country that's got no links, etc. So like the new Mudryk card, for example. Premier League's very good, but his nation, Ukraine, doesn't really help him a lot. There's not only really Shevchenko is not even that top tier card. So that's the type of thing that's going to be good value. How it compares to other cards in its position in general. So a top tier striker is going to cost a lot more than a top tier fullback, for example. But yeah, we've got a numerous amount of players in. We're going to go through them one at a time and talk about what I think of the cards and where I hold the value. A top card doesn't necessarily mean it should be it's good value. So Neymar's 2.9 million. If you look at this card, his in form, which is only a level worse, is 2 million cheaper, and his gold card is like 40 times cheaper. Now his gold card doesn't have the cam position. The cam position is definitely important, but for me, how can a card be 2 mil more than a card that's got +1? This Neymar is really bad value. Whilst Neymar is one of the best attackers in the game, I really don't rate him for value in my opinion. I think it's a really bad value card. So for me, Neymar's going D tier on that. I just can't have a card be that expensive compared to a card that's almost identical. Griezmann. Now Griezmann compared to that Neymar is pretty comparable. He won't be as good on the ball, but he's miles better physical. His links are pretty comparable. Neymar's PSG link probably edge it, but France is a better nation, I think, than Brazil on the game. Griezmann's card, though, for me, overall is better because of the physicals being so big on this game. And this Griezmann's more than 4 times cheaper. So for me, Griezmann's like A tier value. Even though Griezmann's like 700k, he's a really elite attacker in my opinion. So you can probably see in my mind here where I start to go with some of the value. But a card can be expensive, but still really good value, because 700k is not cheap. But when we're looking at the elite end of attackers and comparing Griezmann, I think he actually holds up really well and is really good value. Okay, we're looking at Ousmane Dembele next. So Ousmane Dembele, always a very popular card. Now, not great value compared to this one, but it can play striker. Striker's definitely better. Now, when we look at it, he's basically the same price as Griezmann, and Griezmann's way better physical. He's a bit quicker, but Griezmann will get there anyway. So for me, whilst this is a very good card, Griezmann honestly is probably S tier to be honest, when we look at the card, like it's just cracked. He's not going to be an S tier player in a lot of lists, but in a value list at the top end, I think he really is. But Ousmane, pretty good value, so we're putting in B tier. So it's quite interesting when you compare these cards. If we used to compare all these cards, Neymar and Griezmann are honestly probably like fairly comparable. I do think the Griezmann card's better because of the physicality. But when Neymar's more than 4 times the cost, I think that the value differential is just crazy. Whereas Dembele is probably the worst of these 3 cards, but he's way cheaper than Neymar and a similar price to Griezmann. So not quite as good value, but still decent value. Tomori. Now Tomori's an interesting one. 500k for a centre-back's not cheap, but as we get later into the video, we'll see some of the centre-backs at 1.5 to 2 million. This Tomori, with a shadow, one of the fastest centre-backs in the game. Very good links, because AC Milan have very good chemistry on this game. Serie A is decent. England is a pretty good nation on the game. And then very good physical. This Tomori, top tier centre-back. And when you're getting an elite top tier centre-back for like 500k, I think that's pretty reasonable value. Okay, Hakimi next. Now Hakimi, best right back in the game. But it's 2.2 million coins for a right back. In the past on FIFA, I've seen Team of the Year fullbacks going for like 400 to 600k. This card is a D tier value card in my opinion. I just don't see how you can justify paying that for a right back, and I just think it's crazy. Theo Hernandez is team of the tournament. Very good card, but again, crazy expensive, 700k. That Griezmann, who's one of the probably top 15, maybe top 10 attackers in the game, is about the same price. This Theo Hernandez, great, but again, absolute rip-off. I'm going to see because I don't think he's quite as crazy price as these guys, but just ridiculous. Whereas at the other end, Diogo Dalot, who's honestly comparable to Theo Hernandez, might even be better because he's got the 4-star weak foot, is like less than a third of the price. And the chemistry is arguably better being Premier League Man U. So for me, he's probably like an A tier value. It's crazy the differentials in this. The thing is that when you look at a lot of these cards, people forget how the value can add up. But I honestly think it's pretty crazy when you compare some of these. Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe, 11.5 mil. This card, honestly not going to be crazy different. I'm putting Mbappe C tier, even though he's one of the very most expensive players in the game. He's that elite and a game changer. I don't think I can put him in D, but it's still crazy rip-off. Valverde. Not this one. Okay, so this one is a bit worse, but like if we compare, it's basically 1 or 2 on most stats, and this guy's half the price. So in my opinion, this Valverde is actually pretty decent value. He's an elite midfielder. He's rapid. I quite like that card. Kylian Mbappe's gold card right now is still a top tier card in my opinion. I don't think he's quite as good as Griezmann. I don't think he's miles worse. He's still really good, and he's 100 million coins. Pretty decent card in my opinion. We're not going to take as long on each card because I've kind of explained and shown some more thought process with value, and we don't want to spend an hour on this video, but you get my idea. David Beckham. Great card, and it's obviously the centre mid chemistry is really making a big difference there. But 4 million coins, insane price for that, especially with how bad the icon chemistry is. Freddie Ljungberg. Now, heroes are going to be good for chemistry because they give double chemistry. Obviously, you don't care if it's like MLS League, but Premier League giving double chem, very, very nice. This Ljungberg, you have to apply chemistry as well, really, to see what they look like. Rapid, very good shot, pretty decent dribbling, good physical. 70k for 2 Premier League links. S tier for me. Yaya Toure, good, but honestly, I would not really prefer this card much over the which Valverde was it? I meant to put the 88 Valverde. That's the wrong Valverde, so pretend that's the 88 Valverde. I've obviously done the wrong one, but I'd honestly rather, even then, I'd rather have the 89 Valverde than this card, and that 89 Valverde is a third of the price. The chem on this Toure being double links is very nice, and that probably stops him from being D tier, but 3 million coins for that card, clunky, not that fast. I think it's crazy, honestly. Capdeville. Good, but he was 200k for a good while. Insane price. I've used him for a few hundred games. I really like this card, but 800k, I honestly think he's one of the worst value players in the game now. Probably the worst value player in the game altogether, though, is this Ibrahimovic. Very good, but he's more expensive than like a Team of the Year Benzema. Like, how on earth has that even happened? I really want to use this Ibra, but I just can't justify paying 3.7 mil for him. He's good, but I don't know. He's not even going to be that great on the ball. He's not as fast as some of the other players. His shooting's good, but not going to be like high 90s. He's a bit of a unique card, but I think, honestly, one of the ways that bad value happens on this game is that promos come out, and what you get is cards that just aren't as good value because they just didn't have very good drop rate. Not a lot of people were opening packs of that promo, so that Centurion's promo in general wasn't great. Had a few good cards, but not a lot of people were actually opening the cards. But that Ibra is just a ludicrous price. Okay, we're looking at Chiellini now. Now, players in chemistry is interesting. it isn't always just about the card. It's obviously about their links. And MLS probably seems like a pretty bad link in general. But this Chiellini card jumped in value, in my opinion, when Gareth Bale's SBC was released. So if a card has no good links to it, or EA just don't release cards that like synergize well chemistry-wise with a card, it hurts the card a lot. But soon as we got the Gareth Bale card, for me, this card jumped up in value a lot. 5-star weak foot, 4-star skills. I've been outspoken in terms of I've talked about this card a lot. I still use him on my team and think he's amazing. A lot of people don't rate him as highly as I do. So they might not agree with this, but for me, he is an S-tier value card. If he was Premier League with some of the links that you get there and under 50k, everyone would have him in their team. Don't get me wrong, he's not easy to fit in your team, but if you can, he's a crazy, crazy card. Now, this Ribery card, not as good as like the Griezmann, Ousmane Dembele's that came out. A few weaknesses like the passing, agility, some of those are a bit clunky, but I used the card a lot when it came out. It's still a great card and still pretty reasonably priced. Lots of good French players in Serie A, good French players in general. I like this card, and whilst it's not as good as Ousmane Dembele's card overall, he's a few 100k cheaper, so I think he's still pretty good value. Marquisio, honestly, ridiculously priced. His 87's under £1 mil cheaper and not much worse. One of the worst value cards in the game, in my opinion. I just don't get how anyone can justify that for that card. It's good, but there's much better now. Variety, really like this card. Quick for a midfielder at 85 pace. Elite passing, especially when you combine that weak foot in mind. Not as bad physically as people think. One of the best players in the game on the ball. Defending's very good. He's just a brilliant all-round card. And the PSG links top it off. Italian as well. Perfect link to Donnarumma. Variety for me is 80. He's not cheap, so he's not cheap enough to put into the S tier category. But I really like the card in general. Hullet, 11.6 mil for a midfielder. Just no, just stupidly priced. The 93 Hullet. That's the thing. You have to compare to the other cards, and when there's literally a Hullet that's not much worse, he's what, 1 less pace, 2 less shooting, passing, 1 less dribbling, 2 less defending, 1 less physical. And he's half the price. Like, I just can't justify that. Haaland, clunky, not very good passing. No, that's the wrong one. Clunky, not very good passing. 3-star, 3-star. Stupid price again. Like, there's just so many cards like this that I look at, and I'm just like, I don't get how people are paying this. Like, if cards aren't being sold, the price will go down. So it means people are actually paying this, which I just don't understand. Okay, we're looking at Shirky now. Now, the only promo all FIFA where cards have raised massively in value from the first week, maybe 2 promos to be fair, is a few of the World Cup heroes and the Team of the Years. Shirky's only been out a day or 2 and he's already around this price, so I expect him to drop quite a bit more. This is a very, very good card. Hunter on him, he's quick. He's honestly like Griezmann, but quite a bit worse physical. That is the main difference. But other than that, compared to Griezmann, it's a pretty similar card. And he's going to end up being a lot cheaper than Griezmann. So I'm going to put this card A tier. Also, it depends how much value or weight you put in this. But using players you like or cool players that have not had cards before, that does add something to me. So I understand a bit with Ibra why he's so expensive. Because it's Ibrahimovic, but I still can't justify that. Kalulu. Quick, like really quick for a centre-back. If we compare him to Tomori, he's basically like Tomori, but a little bit slower and a little bit worse physical. But his links, being AC Milan French, are about as good as they get. And he's stupidly cheap, like 100k for that card with the links and how good he is. It's crazy. Park Ji-sung. Quick, very good, versatile, 4-star weak foot, 100k for double Premier League links. Very good in my opinion. If he was under 100k, I'd probably put him S tier. Lucio. Barely better than his Serie A card. And honestly, his Serie A card, Serie A's better than Bundesliga for links. The only real thing about this one's getting double link for Jude Bellingham. That's the only massive plus with that, really. Top tier centre-back, but insanely bad value. Like, there's probably the worst value centre-back in the game. I just don't get why anyone's paying that again. Cool. Weak foot upgrade, 99 pace with a Hunter, very good shot, great passing, not terrible physical for the winger, great on the ball. Double Premier League links, very good. Benzema. Centre mid, that has a lot of qualities. He used to be quite a bit cheaper, to be honest, so he's obviously gone up in price. Like it was $1 million. I think the top end market's not the best value now in terms of, I think that there's a lot of value gone off the top market. For some reason, the price have just gone up and up. But I think this Benzema is still pretty reasonable. He's one of the best midfielders probably outside the team of the years. It's quite a unique card. He's 5-star, 4-star, so I'm putting him in B. Kimmich. Not great links because Bundesliga is just not much to be excited about. Slow. Not great physical in terms of the strength. Not a great shot. Insane on the ball, but a really expensive price tag for a card that's slow and bad strength. C tier for me. Adama, for me, is a decent value card. Premier League, Spanish, 4-4 is good. Rapid, great on the ball, decent shot. When you put a dead eye on him, he's very good to start. But the thing with Adama is, he's going to hold value because he's going to be an amazing super sub for the whole year anyway. So I'm putting him A tier. Brozovic, a little bit slow, but he's still about the same pace as Kimmich and like 8 times cheaper. 5-star weak foot's really nice. Great stamina. Very good defending. Good passing. Not the best links, but very nice being in Serie A, Inter Milan. I think it's a very good value card at under 100k for what you're getting. Okay, we're looking at Jordan Amavi now. Little did I think I'd be putting an Aston Villa player from the season when we went down on here. But it's Jordan Amavi. Brilliant card. I use him in my team. French is the key here. If it was just Getafe and La Liga, it would hurt its chemistry a lot, but French really makes it a lot easier. 5-star weak foot, really nice at fullback. Great physicality, like one of the best fullbacks I've seen in the game for the physicality. Rapid, decent on the ball, passing's more than fine, great defending. One of the best value players in the game, Jordan Amavi, S tier for me. Klostermann, whilst Bundesliga isn't great, there's some pretty decent Leipzig players. This Klostermann, very good. Not at the top elite end in terms of he's good on the ball, but not as good as some of the others. Like if you compare him to Kalulu, Kalulu's probably a fair bit better overall, especially with the chemistry. So I'm putting him A tier, but very good card. Jadon Sancho, 5-star, 4-star. Man U Premier League's great. Pretty quick, very good shot. Long shots don't really matter. Passing's good, decent strength, great on the ball. Reasonable price for the Prem, so I'm putting him A tier. Paqueta, Brazilian, really helps this chem. Obviously, West Ham wouldn't be the best. It's a bit slow at this point of the game, but under 100k for a 5-4 midfielder with these stats, I like that. Guendouzi. This guy at one point was like 70k, like really good value. And he did go up to 200k and then he's dropped a bit. I think he's at a pretty good point now. But for a French league, French midfielder who is not far off being... No, you know, he is in the Hullet gang actually overall. And just a very well-rounded card, which is what you want at midfield. I really like that. Koundé. Shame he's not got centre-back chemistry on this card because that card's better than this one. But that's one of the reasons this one's so much more expensive. But for what you're getting and the links, like that a lot. Gareth Bale, now the SBC was based on like 90k. This is an S tier card in terms of the value. Bale was basically going for cheaper than what his fodder would be worth at 93, which is ludicrous. I don't really get why EA made it so cheap, but really like that card. Perisic, one of the most versatile players in the game. Under 80k, under 75k even. Really good all round. 5-star, 4-star. Compared to like this Guendouzi, he's like Guendouzi but better in midfield. If you can get him in midfield, Premier League at that links. Spurs not bad. Really, really good. Lacazette. 5-star skill moves is really nice. 4-star weak foot. 5-star, 4-star, a lot of the top attackers have that. Dino, Garrincha, Jarzinho, Pele, Mbappe. There's so many attackers like that. This Lacazette doesn't have elite physical and dribbling, but they're very, very good. With a Hunter, you're getting a clinical finisher who's rapid, really good stats. I honestly think he's S tier because of the links and how good the card is. I don't know why he's not used that much. Van Dijk, stupidly priced for this card. Not quite D tier because like it's comparable to Lucio, just a bit cheaper, but not the hero links, but I don't get why that guy was so expensive for the stories. Gravenberch, really nice, well-rounded midfielder. Not the best links, but a pretty good card, so I'm putting him in B tier. And then Gvardiol, one of the top 5 to 10 centre-backs in the game now, in my opinion. The pace split's great. Literally the only thing he lacks is elite defensive awareness. I love this card and think Gvardiol is a top player, so he's going S tier for me. Now, if you like these videos, please do let me know in the comments. I obviously can't do every player in the game. There's hundreds of meta players who we could talk about in this. I've done like 40 to 50 here. We'll do more of these videos in the future if you guys like them. I do appreciate the support on the channel a lot. Hope you're enjoying the content. As always, keep it spicy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.